Vine sat cross-legged on her bed, pretending to read again, though she hadn't turned a page in 5 minutes. The letters blurred her thoughts, a mess of nerves and racing heartbeats. Jungkook was sitting far too close beside her, his knee brushing hers, pretending to scroll through his phone, but clearly not focused on the screen. Every time their knees touched, she felt her pulse jump. Every time he exhaled, she saw she could feel it against her skin. You are really not going to look at me? Jungkook said finally, his voice low, teasing. I'm trying to read, she murmured, eyes fixed on the book, though her voice trembled slightly. Oh really? He leaned closer, his tone playful but soft, brushing the edge of his shoulder with his. Because from here it looks like you have been stuck on the page for the past 10 minutes, just like before. Her breath caught. She turned a fraction toward him, trying to sound annoyed but failing miserably. Maybe I'm just savoring the words. He smiled faintly. "Mm, or maybe the person sitting beside you is too distracting." Her eyes flicked to his for just a heartbeat. A mistake. His gaze was steady, dark, and warm, and kind that made her stomach flip and her throat tighten. She looked away quickly. You wish, she whispered, hoping it sounded convincing. Jungkook tilted his head, amused. Do I? He asked softly, his voice a quiet challenge. The tension thickened, wrapping around them like invisible threads. He shifted slightly closer, the mattress dipping under his weight. The faint scent of his cologne, something clean, warm, maddeningly familiar, filled her hand. Vine's fingers tightened on the edge of her book. You are too close, she managed, her voice barely above a whisper. He didn't move. Am I? Django, she started, but her voice betrayed her. Breath catching on his name, he smirked faintly, his voice dropping to a murmur. You know, you are really bad at hiding when you're nervous. I'm not. Yes, you are. He cut in softly, his tone almost tender now. You bite your lower lip when you're trying not to smile. You tuck your hair behind your ear when you're flustered. You have done both in the last 30 seconds. Her heart thudded painfully. She swallowed, trying to find words. You notice too much. That's because I can't look away, he said simply. Her throat went dry, the air between them crackled, not loud, not visible, but powerful enough to make her forget how to breathe. She forced a shaky laugh. You're unbelievable. Unbelievably don't you? He murmured without hesitation. Her eyes widened, and for a long charged second neither moved. Then Jungkook leaned in a little closer, just enough that his breath brushed her cheek. Vine, he said softly, almost a warning, almost a plea. You make it really hard to be a good boy. I just wanted to see you, but look where I am now. She blinked, pulse hammering. Then don't try so hard, she whispered, the words escaping before she could stop them. His eyes darkened, the playful smirk giving way to something deeper, a storm barely contained. You don't know what you're seeing, he whispered, though the tremor in his voice betrayed his control slipping. Maybe I do, she said just as softly. I'll that all it was shook. Jungkook's hand moved before his mind caught up. His fingers brushed her jaw, feather light, like a question waiting for an answer. Vine froze, eyes wide. But she didn't pull away. Her breath came out shaky, and for a heartbeat they just stared at each other, caught in that impossible space between hesitation and want. Then he leaned in and kissed her. It wasn't wild or rash, it was soft, trembling, the kind of kiss that tastes like uncertainty and electricity all at once. She made a small sound, half surprise, half surrender, and for a second he almost pulled back. but she tilted her head just slightly, and that was all the answer he needed. The book slipped from her fingers. His hand moved to her waist, careful, steady. The world outside the room disappeared. There was only her heartbeat in his chest, his breath against her lips, the fragile rhythm of two people realizing just how close, too close really was. When he finally pulled away, his forehead rested against hers, breath uneven. I shouldn't have, he whispered. Her lips tingled. Then, why did you? She asked, voice barely audible. He opened his eyes slowly, meeting hers. Because you make it impossible not to. Silence fell again, not awkward, but heavy with everything they weren't saying. Vine's chest rose and fell quickly. She swallowed hard, trying to calm the chaos inside her, but his gaze lingered on her lips, and for a second he looked like he might lose the fragile hold he had on herself. "JungkooK," she whispered, but her voice trailed off as he leaned in again, brushing his nose against hers. "Don't look at me like that," he murmured, his tone almost desperate. "I will forget what we are." She smiled faintly. "Maybe that's not so bad." He laughed quietly, breathless, shaking his head. "You have no idea what you do to me." The lips brushed again, soft, floating, not quite a kiss this time, but the promise of one. He was close enough that she could feel the tremor in his breathing, the warmth radiating from him like fire. "Vine," he whispered again, her name a plea on his lips, and that's where the world still, on the edge of chaos, control slipping like sand through the fingers. Neither knew who moved first, her hand brushing his body leaning just a little more forward, but before they could think, he was over her, hovering. Their faces only inches apart, eyes locked, hearts pounding. "No, we should not do it before our marriage, as we promised to our parents." He looked at her confused for a second and placed a kiss on her cheek. Couldn't process it for a moment. Then he chuckled softly, breaking the smell just enough for her to breathe again. "But you should probably put that book away," he teased, nodding toward haunting Adeline, lying face down beside them. "It's dangerous." Wine managed a shaky laugh. "Says the man who broke into my house at midnight." "Correction," he said, leaning back against her headboard as if he owned the place. "I broke in because you ignored me." She rolled her eyes but couldn't suppress the smile tugging at her lips. "Maybe I just wanted peace and quiet for one night." JungkooK grinned, reaching out to tap the cover of the book. "And this was your definition of peace?" "Don't judge my breeding choices," she said, crossing her arms in mock defense. "Oh, I'm not judging," he murmured, leaning in again. "I'm just wondering if you're leaning dangerous ideas from it." She raised an eyebrow. "Dangerous? How?" He smoked. "The kind that makes you look at me like that." "Like what?" "Like you're about to start trouble." Wine's laugh came out softer than she intended, laced with nerves. "Maybe you already started it." He tilted his head, eyes gleaming. "Then maybe I should finish it." The words hung in the air, bolder than either of them expected. Her breath caught again, and for a moment neither spoke. The room seemed smaller now, the moonlight sharper. JungkooK's hand brushed against hers once more, accidental, deliberate, impossible to tell. She could feel his pulse through his fingertips, fast and steady, her gaze flicked up to meet his. And suddenly they were back in that dangerous space between thought and action. "JungkooK," she said, his name breaking softly from his lips. "Yeah, maybe we should stop like you said earlier." He exhaled softly. A rueful smile forming. "You're probably right." But he didn't move away just yet. His eyes lingered on her face, on the faint color rising in her cheeks. "Still, you make it really hard to have self-control." Her laugh trembled. "Flattery won't save you when my parents find out you're here." "I will take my chances." He reached out, brushing his thumb lightly across her hand again. You are worth the risk. He glanced at her lips and then to her eyes, only to look at her lips. Damn, they promised. I can't control anymore. He pinned Wine against the bed, placing him on top of her. What are you doing? I'm going to kiss you and demonstrate what's written in that little book of yours. But in real, full motion, no backing away now. He leaned in, pressing his body fully into hers. She could feel how hard it is when it touched her skin. The lips were inches apart from exploding into something more. Click. The doorknob turned. Wine froze. A shriek threatening to escape her throat. She scrambled backwardly slightly, but there wasn't enough room on the bed. Her cheeks burned hard enough to feel the heat in her hairline. Her mother's voice cut through the air. Wine? JungkooK? The two of them froze. JungkooK's eyes widened just enough to betray the panic that masked his usually calm smirk. Wine whispered frantically, Hide, hide now. Hiding? JungkooK muttered under his breath, voice tense, eyes darting around the small room. I'm fine here. No, we will die here. Mother-in-law is going to kill us both. She hissed. Before he could argue, the door swung open fully. Her parents stood in the doorway, eyes widening at the tableau before them. Wine curled back on the bed, cheeks flaming and JungkooK hovering close, foreheads nearly touching, eyes locked. A moment of perfect stunned silence passed. Good morning, JungkooK offered weakly, giving them an awkward half smile, one hand raised in a faint wave. Wine groaned softly, pressing her face into her hands. Why now? Why today of all days? Her mother's lips twitched, suppressing both amusement and disbelief. JungkooK in her room at this hour? JungkooK straightened as much as one could in his current position and gave an earnest shrug. I was worried. She wasn't answering her phone and I came to check on her. Her father's brow froze. Check on her at midnight. In this position, his gaze flickered to the bed, then back to JungkooK. Explain. Wine peeked from behind her hands, mortified while JungkooK's smirk factored into a genuine panic. Well, maybe I have. Leaned in a bed, but nothing happened. He offered, voice cracking slightly. Leaning in, her mother's eyebrows shot up. You're practically on top of her. No, not exactly. JungkooK stammered, glancing at Wine, who was now attempting to bury herself under the blanket entirely. It just sort of happened. Her father shook his head, lips twitching. Both of you, this is unbelievable. You both are going to marry anyway, so have some patience. JungkooK ran a hand through his hair, looking sheepish but still managing a faint, mischievous grin. We lost track of time. It's very intense when we are together. Wine groaned, wishing she could melt into the mattress. JungkooK, please, she whispered, voice muffled. Her mother, still smirking, picked up the file and book. So this intense moment was inspired by this book? JungkooK blinked, eyes starting to the book. Well, she was reading it and it was intense, very compelling material. Compelling, her mother repeated, raising an eyebrow. That explains a lot. Wine groaned so loudly it could have shattered glass. I'm never leaving this town. Her father shook his head again, suppressing a laugh. JungkooK, you're lucky. She seems patient. Is this a serious offense? I understand, JungkooK said immediately, trying to look contrite, though a faint smirk betrayed him. I will be going now. No, wait, Wine whispered, panic. You can't just. He gave her a cheeky grin, leaning close to give her a cute, playful flying kiss. Consider it my goodbye for now, he whispered, and with that he slipped toward the window, moving with the ease of someone who had practiced escape like this too many times. Wine sank back into the mattress, face blurred in her hands, cheeks flaming hotter than ever. Her parents were still standing in the doorway, exchanging amused, slightly horrified glances. Her mother finally shook her head. And you are in for it, young lady. Her father smirked, but at least he is entertaining. Vine groaned again, her voice muffled by the pillow. I'm doomed. Vine stayed on the bed, face buried in her hands, and for what it felt like a full minute, the echo of JungkooK's dying kiss and the near impossible tension they had shared still lingered in the air. Her chest felt tight, her ears hot, and her hands were trembling slightly from the adrenaline surge. Her mother finally let out a quiet chuckle. You are far too calm, considering wine peeked through her fingers. I'm not calm, she whispered, though the word felt like a lie. Her father crossed his arms, a faint smile tugging at his lips. It seems to me, he said slowly, that JungkooK has a very strong influence on you. You two can't even keep a promise you made with us. Vine groaned again, pressing this pillow to her face. Strong influence? Dad, he's a menace. Menace? Maybe, her mother said, shaking her head. But I can't deny he's charming and persistent, even though you're already his fiance. I thought you guys should be mad. Why should we? He's your fiance. Vine tilted her hair back slightly, groaning so audibly it would have set off alarms. I'm going to die out of embarrassment, she muttered, her father chuckled, leaning against the door frame. You will survive eventually, but this is going to be a strong story we tell for years. No, stop, Vine protested, though her voice was tinged with helpless laughter. Her mother smiled knowingly, stepped closer. We just want to understand, why is he here at midnight? Why are you like this? She gestured vaguely toward the bed. Vine shrank further into herself. It was nothing. We were reading and talking. Her father raised an eyebrow. Talking at this hour? Yes, talking, she said quickly, nearly squeaking. And he just came over because I wasn't answering his calls. Her mother's lips twitched. Sound serious? Vine groaned again, pressing her face harder into the pillow. You don't understand. It wasn't like anything. Her father smirked faintly. We understand enough. The doorbell of subtle amusement and embarrassment lingered. Vine felt like she could melt into the floor. Her mother chuckled softly, clearly enjoying the chaos. JungkooK seems very dedicated. I suppose you two have a lot of energy for your age. Mom, Vine groaned, wishing fervently she could vanish. Meanwhile, outside her room, JungkooK had slipped down the fire escape, landing silently on the lawn. He pulled out his phone, typing a quick message to Vine. If you tell your parents what really happened, I will deny everything. But if you blush thinking of me, I will. Vine's phone burst on the nightstand. Her cheeks heated as she snatched it up and saw the message. He's impossible, she muttered, fingers hovering over the keyboard. She typed a reply. You are in so much trouble. I know, but it's worth it. Her heart thumped so fast she could feel it in her throat. She buried her face in her pillow again, flustered beyond repair. Her mother leaned down, picking up the book Vine had abandoned during the chaos. And you were reading this for enjoyment? She asked, flipping a page. Seems very captivating. Vine groaned louder, wishing she could disappear. Mom! The room fell quiet for a few minutes after her parents left the room, saying good night and good morning at the same time. The room filled only with the soft hum of the fan and Vine muffled groans. Then her phone buzzed again, another message from JungkooK. Promise me one thing, you are thinking about me, aren't you? Anger, she muttered, but even as she said it, her lips quirked into a tiny helpless smile. Another message popped up. No, you don't. You love me and I love you. Now sleep tight, princess, if you don't want me to come in and kiss you again.